Sad news over the weekend. Mike Wallace passed away at the age of 93. He apparently had heart surgery about 3 years ago. And he was in a long-term care center in New Haven, Connecticut when he passed away. Now, of course, everybody's coming together and talking about what an excellent journalist he was. He was known for being very tough on the people he would interview. He would have great follow-up questions, and he wouldn't let the people he was interviewing get away with, talking points or things like that. So, during our production meeting this morning, Cenk, you touched on something that's really, really important. Instead of celebrating what a great journalist he was, why don't people in the media use him as an example of improving?
Right. Steve Croft, who of course was on 60 Minutes along with Mike Wallace, said he was hands down the best television interviewer ever. Well, if that's the case, why don't you all do tough interviews? Why do you all keep doing softball interviews? And I'm not referring to 60 Minutes, they're some of the best on television. I'm referring to the whole media, everybody on television. They're like, oh, how great was Mike Wallace? Let's make sure we don't do what he did. Okay, and whenever somebody comes on, let's be incredibly polite. Let's not do any follow-up questions. Let's just ask standard questions and have them do standard talking points and move on because we don't want to get in trouble. Now, I just want to give you a little bit of a refresher on some of the questions that Mike Wallace asked. Of course, there's hundreds of these, but just a reminder of how he used to go after politicians. Let's watch.
There's been so much talk in recent years of style and of charisma. No one suggests that either you or your opponent, Hubert Humphrey, have a good deal of it. Have you given no thought to this aspect of campaigning and of leading?
And once again, I felt I had to ask her some difficult questions about things that she herself had raised in her book.
What was your husband's role in Iran-Contra?
Nothing. I mean, it was...
He was president of the United States.
It was what... I don't know enough about Iran-Contra, Mike, to talk to you intelligently about it. All I know is that he did not think he had done anything wrong. He didn't know of anything that was going on.
You're going to be in Japan, and I'm told it's a $2 million 2 weeks.
They're getting two of us. They're working us like crazy.
But it's going to be a well-recompensed 2 weeks.
It is for everybody who goes there, which you probably know. Now, you really didn't need that question.
Oh, damn. No, he did need that question. So 2 things I loved in there is he's asking about money. Like, how often do they ask about money anymore? Almost never, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, didn't you forget the $2 million you're getting for a speech. How about the millions you got from your donors? And then didn't you vote their way? God, wouldn't it be great if they asked those questions these days? And then I love how he asked Nixon, basically saying, look, it's obvious you have no charisma. So what's your plan for getting beyond that? Could you imagine if somebody asked that to Bush or to Obama? The whole media would be outraged. Outraged. How could you say that of a president? Why not? They're our representative. We elected them. We're, in essence, all of us together are their boss. So if we have to hold their feet to the fire. So they love giving credit to people like that have already passed away. I'm like, oof, you did a great job holding their feet to the fire. And I'll tell you what, I have learned absolutely nothing from you.
I hear what you're saying, but what I'm curious about is what makes things different now? Because now we have this whole issue of access. Didn't they have the same issue of access back in the day when he was doing that interview with, Nixon, Nancy Reagan, all of those people that he was tough on?
Yes, I'll tell you one of the things that is very different, and it's a great story that Sam Donaldson told us on the Young Turks long time ago. We interviewed him on our radio show. Of course, longtime ABC correspondent, was a White House correspondent during the Reagan years and beyond. And he said, every time that I asked a tough question at the Reagan White House, the White House would call my boss, Roone Arledge at ABC, and yell at him. And every time they did that, Roone would give me a raise.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So that's how they did it in the old days. And in the old days, there was limited outlets, so the White House was stuck. What are they going to do? If they want to get their message out, they got to go to ABC, CBS, or NBC, right? And the bigger reputation someone had, like Mike Wallace, then they felt like, well, if I want to get a bigger audience, I got to go to Mike, even though he asked me tough questions, right? And he got the bigger audience by asking the tough questions. Now there's many outlets, so they're like, if you don't play ball, I'm not going to give you any access, you're done, okay? And I've talked to reporters that cover Washington that say, if they cut my access, I'm done for. My editor doesn't care. He doesn't care about my cry story about, oh, I'm holding them accountable, et cetera. He's like, you got no sources, you got no stories, you're done, okay? So things have flipped on their head. And so now, the people in government have all the power, and they use it. And the guys who run the news networks, and that's the key part, the editors have totally forgotten what journalism is.